Okay guys, this is your class video for processing corn. Our class is coming up August 2nd, and there is nothing better than having fresh sweet corn in the winter, especially at your holiday meals. So as you see, I have 10 dozen of sweet corn. I've shucked them all, cleaned them. Now we're in the process of preparing them. I've got everything set up. We're going to cut it off the cob. I've got my jars sterilized. So what I've done is I've cleaned my corn, washed it very well, set it on these towels here in the kitchen, because I'm doing one step at a time, so I have them all clean. Now I'm in the process of blanching them, and you only want to blanch them until they start turning that golden yellow color. So roughly 2 minutes, 3 minutes. We're then going to pull them out, and I have a sink full of ice water. You will need several bags of ice and cold water. Make sure you sterilize your kitchen sink, because when we pull these out, we're going to submerge them immediately in the ice water to stop them from cooking. And then we'll add another batch to the water to blanch, and we're just going to keep doing that process. We blanch them, pull them out in water, and then these are the ones that are have already been cooled off. So I have certain piles here. So yeah, that's what we're doing. So it's time to take these out right now. So let's get these out. And forgive me, I'm going to try to do video and do this all at the same time. So again, we only want them in for 2 to 3 minutes, or until they start changing to that beautiful yellow color. We do not want to cook them, we just want to blanch them. Okay. And I get my corn at Kurt's, which is right down the street here on 37. To me, those are the best cobs in Allen County, if you ask my opinion. And that's the only place I go. It's very good. Leave back because I'm afraid that's going to be too heavy for me to lift with one hand. And then all I'm going to do is dump them straight into the ice water. And that stops the cooking process. We're going to get the rest of them out of here. Okay. Okay, dump those, and then we're just going to do the process all over again. So again, these are the ones that I've already blanched and I have put in the ice water, and they're good to go. These are the ones that are cooling now, and then these are the ones that I'm going to blanch now. So if you've noticed, I went ahead and put painter's plastic down on my countertop. Anytime you cut corn off the cob, if you don't know already, it's full of juice. It's going to make a huge, huge mess. Oh, let me see if I can do this. So I try to take all my precautions. I wear very old clothes. So look at the color on it now, but then once you blanch it, it's going to be a more vivid yellow. Be careful because I just got splashed. Probably am not doing this the safest way. Okay, So those will blanch for 2 to 3 minutes, and then I'll just keep repeating this process until I get through all this corn, and then we will start cutting it off the cob, and I will start putting it in my jars. I've also wanted to make sure you know that I have my one canner here, and then I have my other canner there. I already have the water heating up. And then over on my little, I don't know what you call that, hot plate, I have drinking water. And I just went to Walmart and purchased the drinking water. We have a lot of rust in our water. And certain, I don't know, like the chlorine in city water, or the softener salt in the water softener water, that could interact. So I just purchase. I just go to the Meijer or Walmart and I just purchase the gallon jugs. This is going to be the raw pack method. So we do want the hot water going when we fill our jars. So it's time to take those out. Can you guys see the difference in the corn? I don't know if the video does it justice. So it really is a lot of rapid step-by-steps, but guys, I'm telling you, this is worth it in the winter. I'm telling you, you're going to be so glad you did this. And if I confuse you or say something in the heat of the moment here, trying to get everything done, forgive me. I can clarify in class, or you can always just message me and I'll clear it up. Okay, so these are now cooled off, so I'm going to move these over to the towel very quickly. And get the sink ready for the next batch. I do not recommend, it depends on how much you're doing, I do not recommend just filling your sink up with water, corn, ice, because it's going to be too heavy for whatever is holding up your sink. My daughter actually made that mistake one year and her sink fell through the countertop. So I'm very cautious. I only do a little bit at a time because I do not want that issue. So just keep that in mind. Oh, somewhere. But guys, this is my favorite time of year. I love doing this. So after the corn, we'll probably start on green beans, because green beans is a very short season. So the next one will be green beans, the next class. So I'm hoping that he still has quite a few green beans left. So let's cross our fingers. And then after that, we're going to be moving on to tomatoes. We'll do whole tomatoes. We'll do tomato juice. My hopes is to do salsa and spaghetti sauce. So that, and then after that, we're going to be doing cabbage. We'll be doing like sauerkraut for those that love homemade sauerkraut. We're going to be doing that as well. So this is the busiest time for canners or preservers, because you want to get all that good, fresh, okay, let's see if I can do this, harvest for your winter. Mines. And then, then it lasts until next summer too. So, and then I guarantee you, if your family's like mine, they're going to want half your stash. So, I've got a sister and brother-in-law that have already hit me up for sauerkraut and corn. So, I think it's cute. I'm very honored that they want it. So that must mean I did it pretty well. And then a lot of times I give it away. I give it a, I give it a jar or two to the neighbors, or get this over to the stove, or I'll give it to some people at church, or I do a lot of things with it. But last year I noticed I did not make a lot of corn, and it went very quickly. I actually have started a journal of my canning every year, of how much I put away, or how much I buy, and how much it produced, and and I'll show you that. So I've got 2 books here, and then that's my journal. And so again, every year I do that. So okay, so we're going to get through this process. It's going to be the same process over and over. We're just going to blanch it, put it in the ice, and put it aside. So once I get through all this, I'll bring you guys back, and we'll start cutting it off the cob, and we'll do it step by step. So I'll bring you back. Okay guys, so all my corn is done. It's all been it's all been blanched and iced, and now it's all cool and it's ready to go. I'm going to flip you around here really quickly. Hopefully this works. All I'm going to do, see if I can get in here right. All I'm going to do is cut it off the cob. And I'm going to do this as close to the cob as I possibly can without getting the cob in there. My preference is a little knife. Some people like the butcher knife. I do not. I feel like I have more control over the smaller knives. But you can do what you prefer. And again, I'm going to get as close to the cob as I can without getting the cob in there. And then I'm just going to kind of scrape the cob. I don't want to waste any of this. That's it. So I'm going to fill my bowls. And then once I get all the corn cut off the cob, we'll start filling the jars, okay? So, and I'll bring you back. I don't really think you want to watch me cut corn off the cob. So, yeah. So we'll see you shortly. Okay guys, I finally got all the corn cut off the cob. So what we're doing is we're going to fill our jars. And we're going to pack them pretty tight. But you need to know that corn does expand during the processing. So this is the one time that you're going to go to the 1-inch headspace. You're going to pack it in really, really, really good. Again, this is going to be the 1-inch headspace, not a 1/4, an inch. So we're going to a little bit more. Now remember, we do have our tool, our debubbler, that we are going to use now, that will tell you where that 1 inch is, okay? So I'm going to pack it in pretty good. And then the 1 inch is going to be that very first one right there, okay? So we're going to measure it. I can put a little bit more in. I'm going to tap it down. Oh, I'm blind. Okay. And that's about right, okay? So then I'm going to add our water. It's broken, but that's okay. I still use it. I give the water time to get down to the bottom. This is hot water, by the way. Yeah, let me look. Okay, that's about right. And then I'm going to add 1/4 teaspoon of salt to the very top. And then I'm going to add 1 teaspoon of sugar. I know it's sweet corn, but this just gives it just a tad bit more sweetener. I'm going to debubble. That's very important, by the way. Debubble it. I'm going to tap it down one more time. And then I'm going to put my lid and my rings on, which I haven't gotten ready yet, so I'm sorry. Give me 1 second here. I'm going to wipe my rims. A little ahead of myself. I wiped my rim. I'm going to do fingertip tight. And that's all we do. So let's do one more together. So we're going to add our corn. Again, remembering that corn does expand. Pack it down. And it doesn't matter when you add your salt or your sugar. You can add it before you add the water, or you can add it after. It doesn't matter. A little bit more. Okay. Add my water. I'm going to add this first before we debubble. So 1/4 canning salt is what I use. And then 1 teaspoon sugar. I'm going to debubble. Okay, and then I'm going to wipe my rim. Yeah, I might add just a tad bit more water. Yeah. And I'm wiping down into the thread of the jar as well. Fingertip tight. Okay, and that's what we're doing. We're going to water bath these at a rolling boil, not a simmer, a rolling boil for an hour and a half. I'll bring you guys back when I get both canners full, and then we will figure out how many quarts we got for the 10 dozen corn. So yeah, I'll bring you back. Okay guys, as I'm doing this, I feel like I need to specify something to you. When I talk about the 1/4 inch headspace, and we do on your debubbler right here, I'm talking about corn or product. So we would put this in, and we would want the corn, I don't know if you can see this, we would only want the corn to touch to the tip right here. Okay, so that's a little bit below, right, that's a little bit below the band, so about right there. That's as much corn as we want to put in our jar. Now once we get our corn in and we fill it with water and we debubble, and if it falls below, two different things, if it falls below that band, we need to add more water, if that makes any sense. So the corn needs to be about 1/4, about right there. But once you add water, and that needs to be about right there after you debubble. So you might have to add more liquid, more water, once you debubble, but that is where the liquid should be with the product in your jar. I hope I'm explaining that correctly. So the corn should be, after you pack it, should be about right there. That's about a 1/4 headspace. But then when you add your hot water, that's going to rise. You're going to debubble. That'll take it back down because you've got the air bubbles out. You're going to add a little bit more water, and everything combined should be right there to that band, if that makes any sense. I hope I explained this correctly. Obviously message me, or you can ask me in class if you don't understand, but it's two different levels. Corn here, roughly, and then when you add the liquid and you debubble, you'll add more liquid because obviously the air bubbles are now out, and then you would add your hot water up to that band. Okay? All right. I just want to make sure we were clear on that. All right, we'll see you later. Okay guys, it's been an hour and a half. We have 19 quarts of corn. I just pulled out of the canner. Just a reminder, once the time is up, you want to turn the heat off the canner. You want to let it set for 5 minutes before you do anything with the product that you're pulling out of your canner. Okay, No more, no less, 5 minutes. We do not want to get flat sour from letting it sit in hot water, okay? So 5 minutes. We're going to pull them out. And I'm already hearing popping. And we're going to let these sit undisturbed for 12 to 24 hours. And then when morning comes, I will definitely check all my seals to make sure they sealed. I will date them and put them in a cool, dark spot downstairs in my basement. And we'll have this corn for winter. So I'm super excited. I did not freeze any of this time. I decided to do all the processing, canning corn. So did you hear that? That was a pop. I also want you to take note that it did siphon a little bit in some of my water. I don't know if you can see the yellow tint. That is perfectly okay. It's not a big deal. Sometimes you will have the siphoning. Yeah. This pot, again, you do not need expensive stuff. I mean, you can do this the old-fashioned way. I did not have another plate or grid to put at the bottom of this pan, so I just put an old towel down. I did old school on a lot of these. I just did the normal stock pots. So you do not need the fancy equipment like this. You can do it old school. That's what I need you to understand, that you don't need anything expensive. You can do it the old-fashioned way and it would still produce the same product. So yeah, 19 quarts of corn for 10 dozen. That's 240 ears of corn. That's all I got. This is a lot of work, but it is going to be so worth it come winter and your holiday meals. It's just going to be worth it. So yeah, this is what you have. I will bring you guys back in the morning when I check the seals. That way you have an idea of how to do that. But yeah, doesn't that look really nice? I think so. All right, we will bring you back tomorrow morning when it's time to check the seals. I'll get them labeled and then we will store them correctly. All right, have a good evening. Okay guys, I'm going to flip you up this way. Hopefully you can see. So all we're doing now, the corn is done. It's been setting for 12 to 24 hours. So all I'm doing now is just wiping the jars. Because sweet corn, after it's processed, when it siphons, it will become sticky. And you do not want to store your jars that way. So every time I wipe my jars, and then to test the seal, all I do is pick it up. And it's a firm seal, okay? I do not store with my rings on. I take my rings off. And the reason why you want to take your rings off is because if the seal does loosen or come unsealed, you're not going to know it because you're going to have your rings on. It's not, the food will spoil. So even though the rings are holding the seal on, if the seal pops and the rings are on, you're not going to know it until you go to use it, or you have this rancid smell in your storage area. Also, these tend to rust. And if you've ever had any of your rings rust on your jars, it is extremely hard to get them off. So it's just a good practice just to go ahead and take them off. Let's do one more for you here. Just going to wipe them down, get all the sugar off of it, or the sticky. This is actually a good practice to do with all your canning. Put it all down. Check my seal. All right, and there you go. So that's it. That's all we do. So that's the end of this class video. We'll be starting our green bean video shortly for the following class. So have a good evening.